Greetings, everyone. In this video, I'm going to introduce databases with an ultimate focus on SQL, otherwise known as the Structured Query Language. My name is Dr. David Olson, the SQL Data Ninja. So, to introduce databases, we have to know that they are a collection of data. We'll look at data formats, we'll look at the notion that data is central for analytics, and then we're going to introduce our database tables, the ones that we use throughout the rest of our videos. So, what is data? Well, data is a collection of facts, and data can be structured, unstructured, or semi-structured. And so we can have data that might be in a table, it might be in an Excel file, it can come to us in a lot of different formats, and we have to deal with that. Ultimately, what we try to do is get it into one similar format so that we can analyze it and it's predictable. So, those formats might be what we call a flat file. Some people think of those as text files. People get a lot of data arriving from Excel files. Also, you might have data in an Oracle format, SQL Server, DB2, which is the IBM product, or MySQL. Also, you might get semi-structured data coming to you in an XML format or in a JSON format. So we have to be able to handle data in lots of different ways and get it into one common format in order to analyze it. Also, data is fundamental for analytics. Similarly, the data has to be housed in the database. So we have, in the last many years, just mountains of data. In fact, it's hard for people to comprehend how much data that we've created just in the last few years. Somewhere it sits, often it sits in a database. Very often it sits in what we call a relational databases, made up of columns and rows. And ultimately, we're going to analyze that data and see if we can have some findings and see what the underlying story is being told by that data. So we're going to make several videos using SQL. In many of the videos, we're going to use these three tables that I have listed. And those are the calendar table, the company information table, and the stock data table. Sometimes people might think that a table is similar to a spreadsheet or a sheet, but there are some differences. Namely, tables relate to other tables, usually through something called a primary key or a foreign key. And we'll talk about those more later, but there are differences with relational databases versus spreadsheets. So, the first table that we're going to use, it's a calendar table. Here's the name on the create statement. In fact, I'm showing you the table structure on a create statement. And we have the following columns or fields, attributes. We have a column called actual date, the name of the month, so January, February, March, a day number, a year number, and the day of the week. And you can see that we have a constraint here that says the only valid days of the week are Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So you can kind of get an idea of what that data would look like. Lastly, we have a column called day type. Now that's going to be business day, a weekend, or a weekday. So that's our calendar structure. We are going to populate it with data from the year 1900 through the year 2050. So we're going to have a row for every day for every year between those year points. Secondly, we're doing a bit of a stock data database here. Here we're going to have our second table called company information, and we have columns or attributes called ticker symbol, company name, industry, phone number, the address of the company, the city, the state, the zip code, and the country. And in our sample database, we have 100 companies being represented. So there will be 100 rows in the company information table. Lastly, we have the stock data table. And this is where most of our data is in this database. And this is for each date and for each ticker symbol, we're going to collect the opening, the high, the low, and the closing price for that day, as well as the volume. So it's going to be a large table full of stock prices for each ticker symbol for each day. And ultimately, we might want to analyze that data and see what we can get in terms of findings. Now, we'll note a couple of things. Ticker symbol right here is in the stock data table. Ticker symbol is also a part of the company information table. Ticker symbol in the company information table, it's a primary key here, and so we call it the parent table. Ticker symbol in stock data is not the primary key, but it is a column or an attribute in the stock data table. So here, this is known as a foreign key. And you see it right down here where we have foreign key references the company information table. So stock data and company information are linked from a primary key to a foreign key. Similarly, in stock data we have trade date, and it's an attribute of stock data. In the calendar table, we have actual date. Trade date and actual date also function as keys that connect one to another. Actual date in the calendar table is a primary key. Trade date in the stock data table is a foreign key back to the calendar table. And in fact, we see that referenced right here, that we have a foreign key referencing back to the calendar table. So for most of the rest of the videos, we're going to use these three tables as we show different SQL constructs and show you how to use that. And in not very long at all, you'll be pretty good at SQL, and it'll give you a lot of power in order to acquire, examine, look, and analyze data. Thank you.